I'm Tim Lewis, and thank you for watching this video. Please hit the like button, and if you haven't done so, please subscribe for more content. If you know someone who might like this video, recommend it to them and encourage them to subscribe as well. Thank you and enjoy the video. Hello everybody and welcome to today's video. Today's video covers tips and advice for running on club layouts or public layouts. In this video you'll hear some tips and advice that I've used to operate trains on public or club layouts. And as many of you guys know, since the pandemic lockdown, I haven't been able to come up with some new videos, so coming up with these ideas of videos to do is very weird. So currently I came up with this one just a couple days ago, and pretty much I'm going to give you guys advice, and keep in mind this is my opinions and my stuff, and hopefully this video is to inspire you to do some ideas like this or change it up, because I've seen many people in other clubs or in a public setting run trains a certain way, and they either have an engine blow up on them or something else happens during their run sessions. So this video is to also help you with a smoother run session. So the first tip is what to bring to your run session. So what I usually do is I bring 2 to 3 locomotives to run with one consist per track, and sometimes I bring 2 consist per track. You should also have a toolbox with various tools. If you guys recall, in 2018 I did a video on a club toolbox, and that was another video blog episode. So if you haven't seen that yet, the link for that video will be in the bio, and I encourage you guys to check out the video. Second point is, how will you transport your items? And I don't have a lot of super detailed stuff. Several of my Lionel cabooses I leave in the original boxes because of the parts on them, and I usually have tubs for the cars and toolboxes for locomotives. So for example, I have a couple Rail King locomotives that can fit in these boxes, and it's because they're Proto 2. The Proto 3 locomotives will not be able to fit in these boxes unless you take the tether off, and I do not want to do that every time. Here is the inside of the box. So as you guys can tell, I wrap a lot of my stuff up in puppy pads. So I got various size puppy pads depending on the item. These are the smaller ones. So I got an engine, a tender, and a caboose corresponding to the railroad. If you guys recalled, I did a video early 2019 on reusing Menards boxes and using the dual pineapple chunks boxes that you can buy in bulk, and I use them to store a lot of cars in them. So if you guys want to take a look at that, I'll also link the video description as well. And I have quite a few tubs full of train cars, and they're all wrapped up together, and they are basically one train. So when I take a train to a club, it's going to be whatever is in that box. So here is one of many toolboxes that I have in my collection, and they range from different manufacturers. I have a couple that are from Harbor Freight and a couple from Home Depot and Lowe's. So the toolbox that has all my tools, and this type of toolbox you can buy at Harbor Freight, and I wish I could be able to change everything that I have to be able to fit in these types of toolboxes. However, I have 2 toolboxes made by Husky that have 3 engines each, and it was more efficient to have a toolbox that can carry 3 engines at once than have to have 2 toolboxes to have 3 engines in 2 per box basically, and it was a lot easier for me to do that. The downside is a lot of things would not be able to fit in this toolbox. So I currently have 3 steam engines between the 3 toolboxes in each toolbox. So this has the Class A 1218 in it. Has the engine, its water tender, the aux tender, and the caboose. The J and the GS4 box each have the engine, their tenders, and the aux tender. Like I mentioned before, a lot of things will not fit. So, for example, I put 1225 in this toolbox when I got it, and unfortunately I had to get a bigger one because the caboose would not fit in the toolbox. So, trying to look for a bigger size toolbox was simple. Thanks to a couple of gift cards, I went to Home Depot and Lowe's, and I finally found the one I wanted. And I had to do that to a couple other locomotives as well. Now, for those that are O-gaugers, you guys know that transporting stuff is a struggle. As you guys can see, that I have different ways of transporting my stuff to clubs. Now, if I had the ability to start all over, and I had a train layout at home, and I had shelves everywhere, and a yard, I would be buying a ton of O-scale haulers. Now, these O-scale haulers are pretty nice because they are a unique type of box. What I mean by that is, when you take the lid off, you're greeted by 3 trays similar to the old baseball card type of boxes, and they can fit various things such as 6 F units, 2 big boys and their water tenders, and there's a lot of other things you could do with these toolboxes. Now, I have 2 engines in this toolbox, a caboose, and a scale test car. I have a loco hauler box that is empty right now, but I plan to use it on something else. These boxes here, like I said earlier, was a loco hauler O-scale hauler box. There is a car/train hauler box. I have 2 of those, and the one has the Disney train in it, the other has my 2 19th century 10-wheelers and the passenger car train in them. And these are some pretty nice boxes. I highly recommend getting them. These are O-scale hauler boxes, and you can probably still find them online. I believe the operation manager, Doug Kearney, is still selling boxes, so if you need boxes, you can get a hold of him, I believe, through oscalehauler.com. Yes, oscalehauler.com. And the good thing is, he actually did this. This is the contact information for the O-scale hauler, and he has done a lot of unique things. He's been taking this company a little bit different than the predecessor. I do not know who made the boxes before the O-scale hauler, but I met Doug. He's a really nice guy. We talked to each other, and he had these other company boxes, and then he came out with his own boxes. So that's pretty cool. And he's done some cool things, such as adding a wooden base, so more of the detail parts on the lower end of the locomotives don't fall off. And also to create a sturdy base for the locomotive to sit on when it's in storage. The next thing is setting up your trains. Every operator has something different when they operate their trains. And for me, I will operate each locomotive from 45 minutes to an hour, depending on the operations for the day. So I like to run my trains, and what I do is when I run them, I try to keep the equal amount of time when I'm at the club. So if the organization, club, or the layout hours are anywhere from, like, 11 to 5, it's a 5-hour block. So I usually run each locomotive for the first hour, 30 minutes each, and then 1 hour, and switch on and off until the end of the day. So essentially, if they were running that, it would be 2.5 hours they would get each time. You could probably go a little bit more, and it depends on how heavy of a consist that you operate. And usually my consists are under 25 cars for freight and under 15 for passenger. However, I can add more cars depending on how light the cars are. The very other important thing is checking temperatures on locomotives. And You do this because these manufacturers do not make locomotives intended for a club or public layout operations. They're intended for your layout at home with a small loop. So what I usually do is I check the locomotive heat every 15 minutes. So what I do is, usually it's around when I have to add smoke to the locomotive. So I check here, basically I check right around here where the motor is, and then I check back here. And occasionally you should do this. What I will do now is I will show you guys what to do. Obviously have the track power off when you do this. You can feel more of the heat down here because the motor is actually, even though it's right here, the gears are down here, and this is where most of the heat comes. The next thing you should do is bring your own remotes and smoke tubes. And like toolboxes, you should have your own tools. This is the same thing with remotes. You should at least have some tools to make repairs, as well as have a remote to run your trains. Now I know most clubs, they have their own remotes because they buy it as a part of the deal. However, the reason why you should bring your own remotes is, one, the DCS remote has a memory, so for example, I can take this remote, go to one of my clubs, operate a locomotive, and all I have to do is move it from the inactive list to the active list. Instead of trying to look for the engine, which could take some time, it cuts down and it's easy for use. Not so much with the legacy remote, however, you know it's your legacy remote and you know it's going to work. And at least with your own remotes, they'll work when you take them to other clubs. The one thing you should also make sure your remotes and the club or private layout, whatever layout you are taking your stuff to, has a current edition of whatever software is available, or software equal to what your software is. If not, you might need to update your software, or you may need to operate the club's software. Now, there are a couple layouts that I've been to that you have to bring your own legacy base, and sometimes you may have to bring your own remote if they have a legacy base. So basically, if that's the case, there's a lot of people that have come up with some really cool ideas that all you need to do is get some banana hooks and a alligator clip, and when you go to that layout you can just plug in and the base will work just like when you're at home. And lastly, run your trains your way. These are just tips, and this is just how I do it, and everybody has a different method. So basically, when I choose my consist, I have done a video on this before on how I choose my consist, or how I choose my trains to bring. So for example, I look and see what's the last date the engine ran before I decide what consist to bring. So for example, for a future run that I will probably be making sometime soon, I will take a look, and the last time I ran UP 4004, which was the SD40, was in January. So what I'll do is I'll look for another engine that has the same time, and I can't find something close, but there's something that hasn't run just as long as well, and that would be the SDIV 702, which is a genset, and Santa Fe GP30 3233. So I can take those three to run. Now, what consist should I take? Well, I have made a consist list as well, apart from the addition from the last one. So I just look around, and the last time the modern mixed train ran was on February 18th, so I will take that to run with the 3 locomotives. And obviously when you come home or you're done with your session, you would come up here and just mark when was the last time it ran. And the reason why you want to have a dates last run and a consist list is, 1, you know when the locomotive ran last, and 2, if you're running the same thing, you're going to increase the chances of the locomotive or consist potentially having maintenance in the near future. Alrighty guys, thank you guys for watching the video, and I hope you learned some interesting things that you could use for your personal experiences to change how you operate trains at layouts. And once again, for the last time, these are my opinions, and I'm not forcing you guys to do this, but if there's something that you liked, you might want to try it out. In this time with the pandemic lockdown, people are doing new things and learning new things, and I'm continuing to provide videos as much as I can and am able to with the limited resources I have to keep everybody entertained. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Once again, thank you for watching this video. If you like what you saw, please hit the like button. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe for more content. If you know someone who might like this video, recommend it to them and encourage them to subscribe. If you would like to see more photos and videos, I have an Instagram account. The username is sdiv_tim, and the link is in the bio. If you're an O-Gauge modeler looking for more exposure, American O-Gauge is a feature page on Instagram where O-Gauge modelers around the country have their trains on display. This also includes their layouts and tips. With over 1,000 followers and over 75 different contributors, we get a new contributor daily. We hope you can contribute to our page.